Hare Krishna. Jaya 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 Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jai Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajakacharia Ashtottara Hatha Shishimad His Divine Grace Abhay Charana Aravind Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Gopinath Bhagwan Ki Jai Sri Caitanya Caritamrita Ki Jai Srila Krishna Kaviraj Goswami Maharaj Ki Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Nitai Guru Premanande. Hare Krishna. Welcome to Caitanya Caritamrita class, the chosen one. With the new government restrictions, we are supposed to have only maximum 2 people together in an enclosed space, so you can come there. We'll continue from where we left off. So yesterday we were discussing how Nityananda Prabhu, after completing the different places of visits to different places of pilgrimage, he starts to go for this mic is very sensitive. Is that fine? So Nityananda Prabhu, after visiting different places of pilgrimage, he goes to Vrindavan. So in Vrindavan, he starts to visit different places. He would remember about the pastimes as the Lord Balaram, how he performed 5,000 years earlier. And then he would go visit Nanda Baba's palace. He would sit there, cry, remembering about their unconditional love. He would go play with all the cows and calves as he did in New Raman Reti, as he did in Raman Reti. So likewise, he used to go to Govardhan Hill, everywhere. So wherever he went, he was able to relive the pastimes which he performed 5,000 years earlier. So Nityananda Prabhu, as he was waiting there, waiting for the Supreme Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to start his Sankirtan movement, he remembered there was one of the Gopalas who, when Krishna actually wound up all the pastimes, there was one of the Dwadasha Gopalas. He was in the cave of Govardhan and he was inside there sleeping peacefully. So Nityananda, he goes to Govardhan to a particular cave and then he calls out, Sridham, oh Sridham. So Sridhama is one of the 12 Gopalas, Dwadasha Gopalas. So he calls him Sridham. And then after some time, one big, huge, tall personality comes out, dressed as a cowherd boy. So as Sridham comes out, Nityananda Prabhu calls him. And he says, do you recognize me? I'm your Balai, I'm Balaram. Then Sridham, because he was very, very tall in Dwapara Yuga, and Nityananda Prabhu was, relatively speaking, he was much smaller. So then Sridham was actually telling, you can't be my Balai. Balai was more taller than me, slightly taller than me. So Nityananda Prabhu says, it's been 5,000 years since we performed the pastimes. Don't you know? And then Sridham asks, what about all the other Gopals? Where are the Gopis? Where is Krishna? Where is Balaram? Then Nityananda Prabhu again tries to convince him, I am your Balai, I am Balaram. But Sridham wasn't convinced. So finally Sridham tells him, even after much persuasion of Nityananda Prabhu, Sridham is still not convinced. So finally Sridhama tells Nityananda Prabhu, if you are Balai, then you should be able to beat me in a running race around Govardhan. Because I'm the fastest runner among all Gopals. Only Balai can run faster than me. Then Nityananda Prabhu says, all right. So then they both start a running race around Govardhan fully. And in that race, Nityananda Prabhu, he beats him. In the final line, he beats him. So now Sridham is convinced that this is my own Balai, and they both embrace each other. And Sridham sheds tears of ecstasy as he start to feel, or as he start to remember the pain of separation he was going through from his dear Gopas. So then Nityananda Prabhu then tells him the same. Then he asks, where is Kanai? Then Nityananda Prabhu tells him, our Kanai is in Navadvipa Dham now. So I'm waiting here for him to inaugurate the Sankirtan movement. So then Sridham asks, what is my role there? Then just like how Balaram, he always carried this hala. Likewise, Nityananda Prabhu manifests a stick and then he pushes him, his height from there all the way down to Nitai's level. And then that is how Abhiram Gopal, he is also one of the very close associates, very powerful preachers of Lord Nityananda Prabhu. So Sridham and Vrajalila is Abhiram Gopal in Gauralila. So that's how Abhiram Gopal makes his appearance in Gauralila. Abhiram Gopal used to carry a whip called Jayamangala. We were discussing before. So who he beats or he touches his Jayamangala with, the person would be immediately infested with love of Godhead. So they'll manifest symptoms of Krishna Prema and they will immediately become elevated to that consciousness. So Srinivas Acharya is one of the beneficiaries of the mercy of Jayamangal. So this is Sridham. So Nityananda Prabhu, as he was waiting in Vrajabhumi, meanwhile Caitanya Mahaprabhu, he continued his pastimes in Navadvipa Dham. So as Caitanya Mahaprabhu, he performed his pastimes in school. As we were discussing, he was enrolled in Gangadas Pandit school and he was his favorite pupil in that school. So as Caitanya Mahaprabhu was becoming more and more expert in Sanskrit, Nyaya philosophy especially, and he was growing old. At one point, Jagannath Mishra, he disappears from this world. So obviously, Caitanya Mahaprabhu, he was very, very heartbroken, and more so is Sachimata. Caitanya Mahaprabhu convinces her that he would take care of her. She doesn't have to feel separation. And as before, as we were discussing, that whoever looks at the smiling, beautiful, enchanting face of Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu, they'll have all their miseries going away from them. So in this instance, what happened is Krishna or Krishna Chaitanya, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was consoling Sachimata, she had this sudden surge of enthusiasm in her heart that like, yes, my Nimai is there for me. So as time was rolling, Nimai Pandit was also becoming more and more expert in logic studies in his school also. He started to attract so many pupils around him. So many times, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was looked up to by as a leader, student leader, by all the students, he would sit there and he would take care of them like a brother. Okay, when they go to Ganga, when they play, they have a different mood, but in the school, they always looked up to him. Even the students who were senior to him by age and as well as by experience. So in this instance, what happens is, on one day, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as he was strolling on the banks of Ganges, there were a group of few young women who were coming. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tells them, whoever worships me, you will receive fortune beyond your imagination. So offer everything to me. If you want to look at a parallel, it's very similar to the mood of Lord Krishna as he was strolling on the streets of Mathura the day before he actually killed Kamsa. As soon as he reached there, he went for a walk along with Balaram as well as all of his other Gopa friends. So as Krishna was strolling there, he would go ask from a weaver, give me cloth. He would ask from perfume maker, give me perfume. He meets Kubja, likewise. Here also Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as he walks with the gait of a lion, accompanied by his associates, he would stop them and he would ask, you worship me, you will receive fortune. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in many instances, he was trying to communicate to people that he is indeed the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But because each one of them, they were influenced by Yogamaya, they just couldn't understand. So in this instance, he goes, all the young women, they were giggling and they go away, taking his words to be like a joke. There's one of the ladies in the group, she comes forward, she puts full trust in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and she applies the sandalwood pulp. She gives the garland to the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And that is Laxmipriya, Lord's divine consort. So she is none other than the supreme goddess of fortune. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu meets her, he immediately identifies her, this is goddess of fortune, and she also could see, this is my supreme Lord. Lord of my heart, Lord of my life. So she starts to worship. Her father's name is Vallabhacharya. So when devotees come to know that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is being worshipped by Laxmipriya, some of them, they were thinking, yes, they would make a perfect match for each other. So there is a devotee, Vanamali. So Vanamali goes and approaches Sachimata, saying, I have a good match for your daughter, or rather for your son, Laxmipriya, who is daughter of Vallabhacharya. So Vanamali then asks Sachimata, do I have your permission to proceed with meeting the father of this girl, Vallabhacharya, as a prospective bride for your young son? Sachimata gives permission, and then Vanamali goes and approaches Vallabhacharya. So as Vallabhacharya heard the proposal from Sachimata's side, he becomes very, very happy. So Vallabhacharya then feels that it was only due to the will of providence, it was only due to supreme fortune that his daughter is able to get a husband like Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then they perform the marriage, beautiful marriage. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stays in Vallabhacharya's home for a day, and then next day he brings Laxmipriya back to his home. Now, while all of this is happening, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was also gathering a lot of followers. There were many students who Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will also go and start debating with. Okay, many Vaishnavas who are his eternal associates, but who haven't understood the supreme position of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So sometimes Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he is in his home, he would perform like a naughty attitude, and he'll start to break things. Now and then Sachimata would wonder, now how are we going to live? Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would break everything. And then he would go out, and then after some time he'll come and bring 2 blocks of gold and give it to Sachimata and tell to Sachimata, all right, sell this and replace everything. So he performs this pastime and nobody knew where is the gold coming from and everything. So this was before marriage. Now after marriage, he was acting as a very proper grahastha. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would spend the time worshipping Vishnu in his home, worshipping Tulsi Maharani, offering Ganga Jal to Vishnu, like that. So as he was worshipping nicely, and then starting to gather followers, his reputation spread far and wide. So many people, just like how Krishna, after killing Kamsa, or as he was entering into the arena for the wrestling match, different people, it is mentioned, Shukadeva Goswami mentions that everyone who were assembled in that arena, they were looking at Krishna depending on the rasa, depending on the relationship they had with him. Like the young girls, they were thinking Krishna as someone who is very, very attractive personality. Somebody who is older, who is much older than Krishna, they were infused with Vatsalya Ras, they were thinking, they were feeling very protective, that somebody should protect. This is a total mismatch between Krishna and Chanur Mushtik. They were all very Sala, everyone. They were very, very powerful. So definitely this is like a small lamb entering into the den of a lion. Krishna shouldn't go ahead with the fight like that. Whereas those with Sakyaras, with Krishna, they were talking to Krishna, they were thinking of Krishna, that Krishna is our friend, we know how many big demons he had killed, definitely he will do. So different people had a different rasa. So same way, When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to walk on the streets of Navadvipa, everyone had different relationships with him. So somebody who is very young in his age, they would look at him as the personification of Kamadeva himself, Cupid, someone who is so attractive, so enchanting. Somebody who is very scholarly, they will think, look at the prodigy that's walking here. I don't think there is anyone in this whole world who can argue with them. Maybe he's Brahaspati, they think like him. Atheists, if they happen to cross his way, they would think that here comes Nimai Pandit. It's impossible for us to go and argue with him and defeat him in any argument. He'll definitely prove that there is God, so I better run away. So they'll run away. So they'll be instilled with the fear as soon as they see Krishna Chaitanya, as soon as they see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And as soon as materialists they see, they get attracted to the fact that whatever Nimai Pandit touches or wherever place he goes, the place becomes prosperous. So let us see if there is some way so that we can invite him, so that we will also get prosperous. That's what their thought process is. So they had some appreciation that, even though they couldn't explain why, they had some appreciation that there is something that is to do with him that is bringing a lot of fortune. Without fully understanding that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and wherever there is Supreme Lord, Lakshmi Devi will be there always. Otherwise, Lakshmi Devi, her name is Chanchala. She won't stay in one place except the place where the Supreme Lord is worshipped. So wherever there is Supreme Lord, she always remain at Supreme Lord's lotus feet. Even though the Supreme Lord gives her a place in his heart, close to his chest, still Lakshmi Devi says like, no, I want to be at your lotus feet. So she loves massaging, Pada Sevana. She's expert in that. So likewise, different people had a different relationship. However, Vaishnavas were very genuine, were very compassionate. They were feeling sorry for Nimai Pandit without knowing that he is the Supreme Lord. So they were thinking that he has so much skill. He has so much expertise in Sanskrit. He has so much intelligence. If only he is a devotee, how much good will he do to the whole world? Otherwise, whatever he is doing is a waste of time. So they will start to offer prayers to Krishna. Krishna, please give him some sense to Nimai Pandit. Actually, they're praying to him. Please give some sense to Nimai Pandit so that he doesn't waste his time anymore. Please give him some tinge of your bhakti so that he will perfect his life. Otherwise, he can gather his all this reputation and everything, but at the end of the day, what is the use of all of this? So this is their heartfelt desire. Meanwhile, Nimai Pandit, he starts to go, just like how as Lord Ram, he was Maryada Purushottam. I was listening to Bhakti Purushottam Swami Maharaj lecture. He was saying that in Ramayana, when Mother Sita and Lord Ram, they were in the forest of Dandakaranya. At one point when they came, they saw this huge mound of skeletons. And when Lord Ram asked the sages around, what is this? And the sages said, this is the handwork of all the demons. They come and they eat all saintly people, and these are all the bones of the people who they have killed. Then Lord Ram he got very, very upset because he is the king, Maryada Purushottam, so he needs to uphold dharma. So he immediately took his bow and started to twang. Just the twanging of his bow was shattering the hearts of people, anybody who heard that. Mother Sita, she is very, very merciful, very, very compassionate. So she tells to Lord Ram, why do you carry this? Just because hearing the twanging of this, everyone is scared. So please put that aside. Lord Ram says like, no, I can't put it because as a Kshatriya, this is my dharma. I need to do this. Then Sita says that, then she goes on to explain her story about how Indra, once he got upset, or rather once he gets jealous of one Brahmana, because as usual Indra always feels insecure in his position. So when he sees one Brahmana starting to accrue more and more pious credit, he wanted to bring the Brahmana's credit down. So what he does is that in those days there is no bank, there is no secure treasury. So people usually hand over valuables to Brahmanas because they were very, very truthful. And then they'll go so far away place. When they come back, they'll go to the Brahmana and they'll get whatever that they have invested there back. Not really invested, kept in Brahmana's security. So in this particular instance, Indra goes and gives a sword to this Brahmana, telling him, please keep it safe. On my return journey, I will get it back. So the Brahmana just had a sword with him, and then he was guarding it because it was given to him. Now Brahmana just associating with the sword, because the sword was not ordinary sword, it was made of gold with a proper grip, bedecked with all jewelries, everything, stones, valuable stones. As he started to hold it, as he started to associate with the sword more and more and more, naturally he started to develop attachment. So he started to even practice with that and everything. So by the time Indra came back, because of simply his association, he has already lost his qualities, Brahmanical qualities, and he comes down to becoming a passionate person. So Sita Devi narrates this story to Lord Rama and saying, just by carrying this, you can also lose the qualities. So we have to be careful like that. Of course, they are Supreme Lords and Supreme Divine Consort, Supreme Mother, but that's how they are teaching the lesson to the whole world. There are many lessons which Sita Devi, by stories she was telling. She tells the stories to Hanuman also, Lord Ram also, advice also she gives. So, because for her, she's the Supreme Mother. For her, she doesn't want even the demons to be killed. Okay? So, as mother, she's pouring her love out equally for everyone. There are even demonesses who were torturing Mother Sita verbally, trying to convince her to marry Ravana. But she used to advise them to remain peaceful. And later on, when Hanuman comes and he says, shall I punish all those demonesses? Sita Devi says, no, don't do it. So Sita Devi is very, very compassionate. So then when she asks this to Lord Ram says like, well, now it's not possible, but in future when I come as Krishna, I won't use the weapon. But then when Krishna comes, that's why Krishna, as long as he is in Vrajabhumi, in presence of Srimati Radharani, he never uses any weapon. He just uses his bare hands, but he still kills. So Radharani was thinking, he told he won't kill, but he's still killing. Krishna is like, I told I won't use weapon, but he still continues to kill. Then Maharaj was saying, so later on in future, Radharani thought, only way I'll make my Lord all compassionate is by myself entering into him. So that's how as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Srimati Radharani ki jai. So then when she enters into the Lord, so it's the same Lord, but the compassion is the aspect of Radharani that's inside actually. So Radharani gives her duty, her luster. She also gives the compassionate mood, the mellow also. So only due to mercy of Radharani is Supreme Lord Krishna is in such a benevolent mood. So here also what happens is, so as Lord Chaitanya, he starts to argue with different people, in a debating rather. He would pull one day everyone, different students. So Murari Gupta, even though he is his schoolmate, he doesn't belong to his close group of associates. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would call Murari Gupta. Murari Gupta was Hanuman. And Murari Gupta, when he was a doctor by profession, so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to tease him, taunt him actually, telling him, oh doctor, why are you studying grammar? This is not going to be useful for you. I think you should go to the forest and pick roots and herbs. That might be useful for you. So you should not study grammar. So then Murari Gupta, even though he is a partial representation of Rudra also, like Hanuman, he is also partial representation of Rudra. So technically Rudra means they get very angry. But Murari Gupta, in association of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, or even as a Vaishnava, he was very, very peaceful, very what's the best word? Balanced in his disposition always. No matter how much Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tries to provoke him, Murari Gupta was always very peaceful. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu likes it very much because he knows this is Rudra. So he would try to tease him always. So one day Murari Gupta tells Nimai Pandit, oh Nimai, why are you so proud? What question did you ask which I didn't answer? Ask me any question. So then Nimai Pandit, as usual, he puts forth an argument. And then Murari Gupta puts forth his proposal. Nimai Pandit in no time smashes his proposals, arguments. So then Murari Gupta immediately accepts defeat. And as he was going, Murari Gupta scratches his head and thinking that he cannot be a human, because there is no way how a human can accrue so much knowledge in such a short time. Even during a whole lifetime, it's impossible. He cannot be a normal human. So this is Murari Gupta's conclusion. Likewise, in the streets, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu goes, he sees Mukunda, Then he calls Mukunda. Mukunda would come. So then Mukunda also knows this Nimai Pandit is very, very proud. Now Mukunda is known for his devotional singing. He always takes association of Advaita Acharya. So in this case, when Mukunda comes in front of him, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tells him, oh, I am just a very young Brahmana. So please give me your association so I can learn something from you. Then Mukunda would say, oh Nimai, I know what you are trying to do here. We all know very well about how skilled you are in debates. So please spare me. Then Nimai says like, no, let us actually learn this way. I can learn something from you. You can also learn something from me. So he'll slowly pull him. So he'll set up like that, and then Mukunda comes, and then Mukunda puts forth arguments. Mukunda thinks, many times I have lost before trying to argue with him in Sanskrit grammar. So today I will go with Alankar. Alankar is figures of speech. Okay, so today I'll go with Alankar. Then he recites instantly poetry with all decorative words. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu finds fault in each of the word and tells everything is wrong. Mukunda Datta thinks, how is he doing this every single time? And every single time I resolve, I don't want to meet him. How is it I'm always finding in the situation? He scratches his head and he goes. But Mukunda also, deep in the core of his heart, he also thinks, why is he wasting time like that? So some instances when Mukunda, after many such arguments, defeats, sometimes when he sees Chaitanya Mahaprabhu coming this way, he'll immediately change his way, go to some other street. But still, as he was running, Mukunda Datta, deep in the core of his heart, he always wonders, why is it I'm feeling so enchanted by his beauty? Why is it my heart is always yearning towards him? If only he is a Vaishnava, I will never leave his company, like that. But as he goes, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as he is walking, he smiles, laughs at him, and he tells his associate, you know why they are running? Then the associate says, maybe he has some other work. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, no, he is running because he doesn't want to hear anything other than Krishna Katha. That is how elevated he is. Now, even though he may be running today, at some time, I will become such a great elevated Vaishnava that even Brahma and Shiva will hanker to get my association. And they will spend their day becoming mad, glorifying my pastimes. Like that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says. So, he had a lot of respects for them. Sometimes some senior Vaishnava would approach Nimai Pandit and tell him, don't waste your life like this, please. Do something useful. Please take up to Krishna Bhakti. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, politely he would accept their advice, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would tell them, thank you for that advice. I will definitely work on that. And then they'll go their way. Likewise, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu meets Srivas also. Srivas is also known as a great Vaishnava. Same thing. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would try to bring him to an argument. They will say, we agree to whatever you say, and then they will do pranam and they'll walk away. They wouldn't want to waste time. So, likewise, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has different pastimes with Mukunda, Murari, Srivas, Gadadhar also. Gadadhar is known for his knowledge of Shastras, especially his attachment to studying Srimad Bhagavatam. So, Gadadhar Pandit, he has so much attachment that sometimes Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would stop him and he would ask him, okay, why don't you put forth your statements and let us see how we can learn from each other. He will try same thing with Mukunda. But Gadadhar would politely refuse and he will say like, no, I don't want to get into that. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, without your association, how can I learn anything? So please teach me something. So then Gadadhar Pandit will feel very compassionate at heart. So he is also expansion of Srimati Radharani. So then Gadadhar Pandit would say, all right, today I will teach you about liberation. Then Gadadhar Pandit would give Muktir Hitva Yata Rupam Swarupena Vyavasthiti. So he'll give full explanation from Srimad Bhagavatam. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would start to refute the statements, quoting Shastras only. And then completely dissecting each one of the words in that verse. And then he will challenge back the meaning and proving that Gadadhar Pandit's meaning is wrong. Then Gadadhar Pandit also will walk away thinking, next time I'll definitely avoid him like that. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was feeling amused to actually see his interactions with the different devotees. However, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at that point, because he wasn't starting his congregational chanting movement formally yet, but he was still having very sweet relationships with many Vaishnavas like that. So one of the important pastimes that happens during this time when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in his Yavana age, around 16 years of age, was him meeting Isvara Puri. Now Isvara Puri, if you remember, he is one of the disciples of Madhavendra Puri. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is his spiritual master. But at this point, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu hasn't taken shelter from him yet. So one day Isvara Puri comes and sits just outside Advaita Acharya's home. Advaita Acharya is also Isvara Puri's god brother. They both took initiation from Madhavendra Puri. So when Isvara Puri was seated outside, Advaita Acharya comes outside and he doesn't know who Isvara Puri is. So he asks him, "Who are you?" Because he carries danda and he wears the clothes of sannyasi. Isvara Puri says, "I'm just a fallen conditioned soul. I've come to seek your shelter." Mukunda Datta, who was there nearby, he immediately can understand with the symptoms that this is a Mahabhagavat. So just to expose his greatness, he starts to sing from devotional scriptures. As soon as Isvara Puri hears that, his eyes started to pour rivers of tears, and his hair standing on end, he starts to roll on the ground and he starts to demonstrate all the Ashtavikar Bhav, the 8 different symptoms of somebody imbued with Krishna Prema. So as soon as Advaita Acharya sees that, he goes and embraces him and he asks him, "Please reveal your identity." Then Isvara Puri says, "I am Isvara Puri." Then Advaita Acharya feels very fortunate to have association of such a great Vaishnav. So when they were associating there, Isvara Puri would go roam around in Navadvipa Dham. With everywhere, wherever he goes, he would just think about Krishna, sing about Krishna, talk about Krishna. So one day Nimai Pandit sees Isvara Puri in the streets. Isvara Puri doesn't know that Nimai Pandit is Supreme Lord yet. So Nimai Pandit comes, touches his feet, and then Nimai Pandit asks, "Please come to my home." Because Sachi Mata, Jagannath Mishra, and later on Nimai Pandit and Laxmipriya, Vishnupriya also, they were known for their hospitality, how they treat saintly persons, how they invite bhaktas, and how they serve them nicely. So he invites Isvara Puri to his home and he starts to massage his feet, feed him nice prasad. Sachi Mata takes care of Isvara Puri like her own son. So during this pastime, he massages Isvara Puri's lotus feet and he hears Krishna Gatha from Isvara Puri. And Nimai Pandit feels very, very pleased looking at a pure devotee like Isvara Puri. Isvara Puri then goes and stays in Gopinath Acharya's house for 7 months. So here, Isvara Puri stays in Navadvipa Dham for 7 months. Every single day, Nimai Pandit will go and associate with them. Even though he hasn't formally been initiated yet, he goes and associates with this future, yet to be spiritual master. Now, Isvara Puri, he wrote a book called Krishna Lilamrita. Now, Krishna Lilamrita, it was his own work. So every evening, Isvara Puri, because he knows about the elevated position of Gadadhar Pandit, Isvara Puri was favoring him, knowing very well that Gadadhar Pandit is a pure devotee. So they both will relish Krishna Lilamrita every day. So Isvara Puri would start to recite and Gadadhar Pandit will also relish. So one day Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes, he also wanted to join the association. So Isvara Puri, as he was reciting, he tells to Nimai Pandit, you are so scholarly, why don't you find some mistakes, faults in this and please correct it. So this work will be a good offering for Krishna. The Nimai Pandit says that how can anyone's attempt to glorify Krishna be faulty? Isvara Puri becomes very happy because he is known as such a scholarly, proud, not in a bad sense, in a good sense, student, nevertheless, and a teacher as well now. Nevertheless, he has so much humility at his heart, he can see the real purport of glorifying Krishna. Prabhupada himself also writes, when he writes Srimad Bhagavatam, okay, that we can discuss about it some other time. Tadvak Visargo, Prabhupada says, quoting the verse, saying, even such work of literature that is attempted to glorify the Supreme Lord may be full of faults, the great saintly personalities still accept it, recite it, and hear it also as a perfect one. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu politely refuses, there cannot be any fault in it. Finding a fault in anyone's devotional work is a big aparadha to Krishna as well as at the lotus feet of Vaishnava. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gives a very strong statement there. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you will see in later pastimes also, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu reiterating on the same point again and again. It's definitely offensive to find a fault in other devotees' literature, devotional literature. So in this instance, what happens? Isvara Puri still insists, I still want you to still go through so that it's grammatically correct. There is nothing grammatically wrong. So then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, just to please him, he goes through that and then he pulls out one Sanskrit verb and he says, this is Atmana padi. So he says that this word which you have actually used, there is a better use or there is a better word for this one. So you can actually change it to Parasmai padi. He suggests another word to Isvara Puri. Isvara Puri is all right. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu goes home. Isvara Puri is also expert in Sanskrit grammar. He is expert in Bhakti Shastras also. Whole night he thinks, and next day when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes, Isvara Puri tells him, actually I was thinking between the word which I have used and the word which you have suggested, which one will suit this particular presentation better. I think the one which I had used already, that suits better. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu becomes very happy because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was also very hesitant because Isvara Puri is going to be a spiritual master. He doesn't want to do. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, again, through his personal example, he's teaching that if somebody is actually writing a literary work, glorifying Krishna, that may have some faults here and there, but they should be overlooked. The point there is that it has the potency to give unalloyed devotion to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that's the only focus that we should have. We'll finish here. We are 2 minutes to 8:10. We are going to have our online group japa session now, so we can continue from where we left tomorrow. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Shri Shri Radha Gopinath Bhagwan ki jai. Samaveda Gaur Bhakta Vrind ki jai. Shri Caitanya Caritamrita ki jai. Shri Shri Gauranitai ki jai. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Samaveda Gaur Bhakta Vrind ki jai. Jai Nitai Gaura Pramanande. Hari Hari Bol. Prabhupada.